You took driver's ed, you took it in the school, and there was a teacher in the school, and you just signed up for it in your schedule. You know, you just went third period or whatever, you know, when it was time for you to your driving class. Because of that little incident with me, I decided I'll show her, I'm going to say that I am a driving instructor on my teaching certificate, all because of that. And I have that. I do have that I'm certified to teach driver's ed. I never have. I've never done anything with it.
Wasn't a driver's ed teacher just killed? Well, teaching someone?
I don't know.
I just heard that in the last month.
Terrible.
It's terrible. Especially after my mother-in-law yesterday, huh?
Yes, right. Then somebody like that. Yeah. So, what did you learn from that story when you're taking your driving test? Anybody that has it yet? That's right. Make sure they know you stopped. If their head yanks back harder than you've ever seen it, good. They'll know you stopped, right?
Yeah, do 100 to the stop sign and
yes.
match the brake.
Make sure they feel the jolt when you stop. Well, maybe not, but do keep that in mind. You can't roll to the stop sign. What's that? All right, here's some papers and some old papers. These are quizzes from yesterday. When you all are gone and you're turning in makeup work, here's what we do. We staple a photocopied answer sheet to it so that you can check your answers. Just because you don't see any red marks doesn't mean you did a great job, that everything's perfect. Okay? It means we noted that you did it, and it's up to you to be looking at the work and to check your answers. Okay? Yes, sir?
Does this mean I did good or bad?
Well, how do you think? I don't know.
That's a 5.5 out of 8.
You're not efficient, what does that mean?
You know, what does that mean to you?
That means awful.
Oh, I don't know. It's not awful.
You put negative 5.5.
No, yeah, but that's, we'll turn it to 1%. To 1%, that is. Take your total, subtract that. So here's how many, there are 34 points on the whole thing.
Yeah.
34 out of 34 would be the best you could get.
Right.
There's how many you missed.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like a negative, you know, like in my case on my driving score, I did get a negative 6 out of 100. That doesn't mean I missed 6 out of there. I'll just let you jabbering. So here, so here, learn how to turn that to 1%. Take your total. And subtract how many missed, so that you know how many you got right. Okay, go ahead and push equal. Okay, that's how many you got right. Divide that by the total that you could have got right. And push equal. Now that's a percent. If you move that decimal 2 places to the right, you can see it, right? Between the 3 and the 8. That's your percent. So, that's, yeah, I mean, I was going to say, to me that's okay. To some people it's fantastic. To some people they might think that's awful. So that's why I couldn't really answer you there. When you're absent on quizzes, typically you take a different version. That way you don't hold up the rest of the class from getting their papers back. You see the mail tray? Sure. And here's our tray. Oh. Here will be our tray, so we can place them right in that tray. Okay? All right. Thank you. So let's talk about like the common stuff that you missed off of there. So we can take a look at it. Let's just see what you need help with. Number 1. Some of you didn't see number 1. You skipped it. Okay. Anybody want to work 1? We can work anything you want. Quizzes don't count a lot. Tests count a ton. And so speak up for ones that you want to work through. Anybody want to work through 1?
I got 1 on math.
Okay, we'll get there. We'll just go down through it. All right, so speak up anytime you need to. Okay, number 2. Avoid using pronouns. You know, don't say things like it never repeats. None of the numbers ever repeat. Don't say that. The key to number 2 is the X's don't repeat. The X's don't repeat. Then we skip to B. So anything out of 1 or 2? Okay. 3. Number 3, what is the domain? That's your top row, and you just list them. They don't really go all everything inclusive from -3 to 7. You make a list, and one of us may have drew in those little fancy brackets, you know, the fancy swoop-de-doos. You don't really use parentheses, you use the big fancy brackets. And the range would be the bottom row. Make a list. Number 4, some of you had trouble with that vertical line test. So if you want to check to see if something is a function, you know, then you just draw a vertical line down it, anywhere you want to. If your vertical line crosses twice, it's not a function. If the vertical line hits twice, it's not a function. Let's just talk about 5. Look at 5 and see if I'm talking to you. Y equals 3 over x squared minus 25. You can't do this. You can't do 3 divided by 0. So that means this stuff down here is not allowed to total up to be 0. The x squared minus 25 is not allowed to total up to be 0. And so if we were to add 25 to both sides, x squared is not allowed to total up to be 25. So x cannot be a 5. X cannot be a negative 5, because once you square that, it totals up to be 25. Can't let the denominator total up to be 25. 6a. What kind of x's are you allowed to use? What's the first thing that's going to happen to that x in number 6? Whatever x you pick, what's the first thing that's going to be done to it? It's going to be squared. Can you square anything? You can square anything. What happens when you square something? What happens when you square a negative? A negative times itself? Positive. Can you take the square root of a positive in? Because that's the next thing you're going to do. Alright. What if x is a 0 and you square it? A 0. What's the square root of 0? 0. You can do that. What if x is a positive and you square it? Positive times positive? Positive. Take square root of a positive? Yeah. So you can do anything. For 6a, you can use any real number. Now the range. Let's talk about what happens with those. Let's pick one of each. Let's say we did the square root of negative 6 squared. Let's say we did the square root of 0 squared. Let's say we did the square root of positive 5 squared. What's negative 6 if we square it? Do this part first. How much? Negative 6 if you square it? Negative times negative? Positive 36. What's the square root of a positive 36? 6. Okay, what's 0 squared? And the square root of 0? 0. What's positive 25 if you square it? Or what's positive 5 if you square it? 25, and the square root of 25 is 5. Look, these will always be 0 or bigger. You're never going to take the square root of something and get a negative number. So 6b is all real numbers greater than or equal to 0. The answer will never be negative. By the time you do that problem, you'll never get an answer that's negative. Okay, 7a. I think you did okay with us 7a. 7b, not so much. Alright, here, just to make yourself feel better, if you missed 7b, raise your hand. It's okay, we're all in there. You go ahead and do it. If you missed 7b, raise your hand. Look at how many people missed it. See, that's okay. Alright, here's what I think happened for a lot of this. So we got to use this for 7. 2x squared plus 4x minus 5. And for x, we were using a negative 4. Here's what I think some of you did. I think some of you went, we're going to go 2 times negative 4 and square it, plus 4 times another negative 4 minus 5. And you just type that in your calculator. And right here's the problem. You're supposed to use the entire negative 4 as your answer. So you need to square the entire negative 4 without parentheses. This whole piece up here is wrong, and then it throws all the rest of it off. Because if you square the negative, that's now 2 times 16. If you don't square the negative, you're going to have 2 times the negative 16. So now we got 32 plus negative 16 minus 5. So then we're looking at 16 minus 5 is 11. 7C. That should do 7C. Looks like you started it though, because I don't think there's anything wrong with changing 1/2 to 0.5. See if we can figure out what happened under 7C. We'll just use this. Here we are, we gotta use the same thing. Let's just pick something else for x. I think it's 1/2, right? X is 1/2? Or a 4? 1/2. So you got 2 times 1/2 if you square it, plus 4 times 1/2 minus 5. Were you wanting to use your calculator? No? That's okay, you can. You know. So here's what I'm wondering. So watch this then maybe. 2 times, see if you type it in this way, if you get a right answer this time, Lily. And you can just type it all left or right like that. Just type exactly what you see. And that's just a great time to talk about, yeah, use your calculators. You just got to have on paper what you're typing in. That's your work. Write down on paper first what you're going to use your calculator for. That's right, negative 2.5. So I don't know what happened here, because I can tell you changed your 1/2 to 0.5. So, I'm not really sure where your typing went wrong, but you got it that time. Alrighty, on the back. 9A, if you missed 9A, I think you didn't get parentheses around the negative 3. And so that it didn't square the negative. You probably got 9B right, but on 9C, there's that same thing. It probably didn't get parentheses around your negative 5, so that when you squared it, it was a positive 5. Is this one of yours?
Yeah, but I did do the parentheses, but since it was already, since it's, right here, there's already a negative, so it like confused me.
Okay, let's do that then, because that might be a whole different issue that we don't want to happen again. Two x squared minus 5x plus 3. We're going to do the f of negative 3. So, like you said, I saw that you had that negative 3 squared, and then here's this minus 5, and now in here's a negative 3 plus 3. So let's run through it without a calculator. So negative 3 squared, there's 9 times 2, that'll be 18. Here's a minus. 5 times negative 3 is a negative 15.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And did you lose one of these negatives?
I put minus 15 there.
Yeah, but do you see how that's going to end up actually being a positive 15 then? Because here's your minus, and then your 5 times negative 3 is the negative 15. So it's a minus and a negative, and then plus 3, which gives us a total of 36 then. Just watch that little guy. Oh, 10's a good one to talk about.
Yeah, what if we forgot to do that one?
Well, you missed points, I bet, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's what. And find x when the f of x equals 36. Okay, it says find x. Don't go put 36 in for x. You got to find x. Look what it says. the S of x, that's your answer, is 36. This can be traded for this. See it? This can be traded for this. Now you're going to start there. 36 equals 3x minus 12. So then we'll add 12. Add 12. What are we up to now? 48 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3. X is 16 and 12. 11, you did a fine job with. The 5's repeated, so no, it's not a function. 12 passes the vertical line test, so it is a function. It passes the vertical line, so it is a function. B fails the vertical line test, so it is not a function. And then some bad things happened on 13. Domain is that bottom to top or left to right? Domain. That goes sideways or vertical? Domain. Left to right. Left. Did you hear it yourself? Left to right. What's on the left? Negatives or positives? Negative. So you need to write it as negative infinity to positive infinity. Don't switch them. The domain goes bottom up. What's on the bottom? Negatives. So the negative infinity has to be listed first. B domain, negative infinity to positive infinity. And then the range, bottom up. What's the lowest that it goes? Lowest is negative infinity. Right? How far is low?
Wait for B?
Yeah. 13b.
Oh, we don't domain.
13b. 13b. The lowest that it goes is negative infinity. And then the highest that it goes is 0, and it touches the 0, so you put a square bracket on 0. Fix yours like this. Should look like that. You got sleepy after a while. The negative infinity's got to be listed to the left. Negative infinity comes first. 0 is to the right. Okay, then we skip that last one. I think we'll move on. I'd keep this. Right? This would be great test questions. In a week or so, not this Friday. You don't have it as a test. I'll quit it, but not a test. Get out those notebooks, everybody. Let's get out your notebooks and go to page 15 and 16.
She gave everybody a C with it.
And if you need to go get a basket, take the whole basket so that you don't get the stuff put back in a different basket. Your page 16 is going to have this little booklet that you made, and you see the back page is all fastened down. The top 2 pages, you can cut them apart into those tabs. So go get what you need. If you don't have a basket,
We have to do that.
at your supplies, I just want you to take some scissors and slice them apart. You know what, just rip off Legos like that. If you just want to look underneath it, you don't have to slice them. So, go get what you need. Your heading should just say solving multi-step equation. So, forget your name. You always need some headings, some titles on your pages. We're going to come over to the left page, page 15, and we're going to just work 4 pages. We're going to take the whole page, or 4 pages, we're not doing 4 pages, 4 problems on that page. And so, write all the steps, take your time, make good notes for yourself, and we're just going to get 4 problems that follow the tab that are there on the left. And the first one of those is 3y plus 60 equals 5y plus 42. So we're on page 15. Make that problem 1. Make it all nice, neat, and tidy.
You got a question?
Yeah, I don't have the pink, the white paper. You don't have the pink? Okay. There you go.
There you go.
Look at that, pretty.
So, let's use this tab to work that one. So we got our question right now. Read the very top thing on the first tab. Look at the equation. Are there any grouping symbols? Yes or no? No. Alright, if you flip back to the no, and you'll just do this once or twice, you won't spend too much time flipping all the way back there. Every time you come to a no, what's it going to say? Go to the next step, right? So you're not going to have to do that. So let's move down to the next white tab. And let's see. Look at each side of the equation. Are there like terms on the left side? Yeah. Alright, so here's the way I see it. Here's the equal sign. Here's the left. Obviously. Here's the right. Like terms are things you can put together. Are these matching kinds of terms? No. No, then we can't do that. And then I believe it's going to say we'll go to the right side. See if you have any like terms on the right side. Nope. Got anything? Okay, then we go to the next tab. Still can't do anything. Let's go to tab number 3. Do you have variables on both sides? Is that a yes? Okay, flip underneath your tab and it says choose the variable with the smaller coefficient. What's a coefficient? Yeah, it's that big number out front, exactly. So here's variables, and here's some variables. Okay. Which one's got the smaller coefficient? 3y. Yeah, the 3y. So let's subtract 3y. I see this as a positive 3y. So let's subtract 3y from both sides. Now it says 60 equals 2y plus 42. And the next tab down says, do you have a constant added or subtracted on both sides? What's a constant? You look it up here? Because that's a great answer. Alright. Let's go back and let's put that in your, in your vocabulary section at the front of your books, words worth knowing. Let's add just one word. One word to the beginning constant. What do we have so far? Domain, range, and function. Now you got 4. Add constant back in the very beginning, that paperclip section that says words worth knowing. Let's put constant. Numbers only, no variables. Numbers only. So we were just reading the one that says, do you have a constant added or subtracted on both sides? Well, yes, we do. Here it is. And if the answer is yes, what's it say to do?
Add opposites to both sides.
Oh, which side though? Where do I start? The smallest, or doesn't it say something else underneath there? Look up your tab. What's it say?
Choose the constant that is on the same side as the variable.
There we go. Choose the constant that's on the same side as the variable. Now, this is the smaller one. That's not really the secret, though. Pick the constant that's on the same side as the variable and do the opposite. So, opposite of add 42 is subtract 42, right? 2y is 60 minus 42? 18. And you know how to do it. Just divide by the 2. Y is 9. How sure are you about that y equals 9?
Really sure.
Really sure? Just because what? Because we all worked it together? You don't think we all make that mistake? Because I've never made a mistake, that is true.
Yeah.
Never. Ever, ever.
That's the start to drive.
I fixed it though. I say it's only a mistake if you refuse to fix it. Here's how you're gonna convince this, and it's nice to have everybody watching, on the same problem as you guys all do, catch the mistake. Put out, you put a 9 back in. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 60. Over here, use a 9, 5 times 9, 45, plus 42, 87 to 87. So let's check them that way. Okay, let's do another one. Call this number 2. We'll try to make it look a little different. 3, parenthesis, 5x minus 4, equals 8x plus 12. What's first tab say? Got any grouping symbols? Okay, then what's the F tab say?
Use the distributive property, multiply the number outside the parentheses by every term inside the parentheses.
Okay, let's do it. Distributive property, you know that, been doing these for a long time. You just have it in writing there for you. Distributive property. So there, that's just one step added on to the other. Then you go to the next tab and you say, are there like terms anywhere? Like terms on the left? Like terms on the right? Variables on both sides. Okay, go to the smaller one and do the opposite. Get rid of that 8x. You have constants on both sides. Constants on both sides? Yeah. So go to where you have constants with the variables. Here's your variables. What's the opposite? Subtract 12. Okay, add 12. Now what's left? Divide by 7. just leave my answer like that, I don't turn them to decimal. 24/7. Number 3, here it is. X plus 8x plus 2x equals
You writing these in here?
6 minus 50.
You writing them?
Yep.
And count the points later down the line.
Yep.
X plus 8x plus 2x equals 6 minus 50. Got any grouping symbols? No, don't see any grouping symbols. Got like terms on the left?
Yes.
Yes. What do you get when you put all those like terms together?
10x plus 8.
Oh, most of them. Here's the thing. Everybody in here just sees a single X. But for some reason, without a number in front of it, your brain forgets about it. I think you'll do your brain a favor if you'll go ahead and just write. I know there's only one there, and it seems silly to have to write that, but now when you put 1 plus the 8 plus the 2, it'll make you account for it. Otherwise, it gets forgotten. How many X's? 11. 11 X's. 6 minus 50 is?
56. 44.
It's a group effort. Negative 44. Divide by the 11. One more problem.
50 minus 6 is 44.
I was doing my
6 minus 50
already.
is negative.
And then, let's just hang out here with this one. Let's watch 2 different ways to answer it, and then you can go back and answer it the way that you like better, whichever one that you think is less work. You know what, I think mine can work in 3 ways, just to show you some little tricks and secrets of things. No, get your fingers off of there.
My fingers off the way.
We don't need any calculators. No calculators.
How I solve this?
Probably most of you would like to subtract the 1 from both sides. Yeah, okay. And obviously, you know, when you're ready to skip some steps by subtracting 1 without showing it and just going straight to 2/3 A equals 10 by all means. Now we got that little 2/3 problem. Is that what you see as 2/3? What's that?
2 divided by 3.
2 divided by 3.
I don't know what that is.
So we might know, we don't need to know. Who cares what it is? Because it's a repeating decimal. We don't want to do 2 divided by 3. That's 0.6 that repeats. You can't even use a calculator then. Now, that's one way to think about it. 2 divided by 3. Let me show you that this is the same thing. Because look, here's the way. This A is really A over 1. So you see you got both the 2 in the A in the numerator and 3 times 1 in the denominator. And we don't have to do that way. I told you I'm going to show you a few ways. So now if you see it this way, how do you undo divide by 3?
Times
By
3.
3. But you got to do it both sides. And you see, here's the divide by 3 and the multiply by 3 that will undo each other. So here's 2A. That equals 30. If 2A is 30, what day? No, math. 15. So that's the way to do that. But I'm going to erase all this and try it again. And then, after you see the way you like the best, you can decide. So, we might still subtract the 1 from both sides. How many of you saw that as 2/3 times A? Yeah, probably most of you, to be honest, right? How do you undo multiplying by 2/3? Divide by 2/3. Okay, write it out for yourself. Don't try to think about all that. Here's the multiply by 2/3, here's the divide by 2/3, so here's just A. But we're not going to use a calculator, especially a graphic calculator that doesn't have a fraction button. So watch what this says to do. 10 divided by 2/3. 10 divided by 2/3. Is this same as? Here you go, 5th grade, everybody. 10, change divide to multiply. Turn this to its reciprocal. We don't need a calculator. 10 times 3? 1 times 2? And 30 divided by 2 is still 15, just like it was a minute ago. I got another way that you might like better. Okay? If you had to pick one thing that you don't like about that question up there, what would it be?
2/3 A.
What?
2/3 A.
The 2/3, right? You don't like the fraction. And so before I ever even start to subtract 1, if you see something you don't like fractions, they can disappear. Get out your magical wand. And here's what makes a fraction a fraction. The divide by 3 part. As long as it's equation, watch this. Well, if you multiply everything, it's only fair if you do everything you see and multiply it by 3. Here's the divide by 3 is gone because of the multiply by 3. Here's 2A. What's 1 times 3? 3. What's 11 times 3?
33.
33. If we subtract 3 from both sides, you've got 2A equals 30. Divide both sides by 2. And you know what? A is still 15. Answer 4. Any way you want to. Here. I'm going to erase this. You get this copy, you gotta think. There you go. There's your original number 4. Pick one of those 3 ways. I don't know that any way was a whole lot shorter than the others. Whatever you see, whatever you like.
Just gonna say, on that, first thing that came into my mind was to divide out the reciprocal on both sides, so I would have automatically put.
So you would have multiplied everything by 3/2? And that's okay, but you know what that creates then? Here's why I don't like to do that. So, if I multiply by, because you can do anything you want to. If it's an equation, you can do anything you want to. Alright, when 3/2 times 2/3, you see there's your 6/6. So that's just like 1A. That'll get rid of that. But now you got 3/2, and over here you got 33/2. You still got fractions, and most people don't like that.
I'm just saying, if you had the 10, then you could just calculate, or you could
Yes,
reduce
back to
and get
here.
your answer.
Back to here.
Yeah.
Yep, multiply by 3/2, because it's your problem and you can do anything you want to.
That's perfectly acceptable there, though.
Absolutely.
It makes sense.
If you want to draw a Christmas tree around both sides, you can draw a Christmas tree around both sides, as long as they're the same size of Christmas trees.
Good point.
Anything you want to do. Okay, we got practice. I'm going to hand you 3. Let's just show it. There's a little typo on number 2. It's got 2 equal signs. Just scribble out one of them. Don't change it to anything else. You'll need to make a negative. But just make it so that it reads -12 equals 5 minus 6n plus 11. It is, but you know what? Last week got finished. Got 6 minutes with 6 problems. That might be a little bit fast for you to be able to get finished. A problem a minute. But you got those tabs to go back to. can go back to the tabs and start at the top.